today's video we're going to be going through the books I read in July and then also my August TBR. Since I had such an average reading month in July, I figured I may as well roll them all up into one and give you a bonus, hopefully a positive thing in terms of what this video is. So let's chat about the books I read in July. The ice machine decided to go off. Okay, we're going to sort that out. Okay. I read 6 books, had an average star rating of 3.1, and all around didn't find a 5-star, wasn't thriving in my reading era in July at all, and I have absolutely no excuse. But I do have a getting out of a book slump video coming out after this one that will probably explain things a little bit more of how and why my reading month was so average this month. I have got a beveragino, a cheeky little homemade caramel macchiato to get us through. So let's chat about the books I read in July. So to start off with, I don't own any of these books. I read purely on my Kindle or audiobook, or if I manage to find it in the library, I'll go get it out of the library. But I do not have a physical library, and that's because my sister and I had a huge library that we combined, and then she moved to the UK, so we sold the whole lot. And even though it hurt my heart to do it, it feels right to be decluttering because one day I want to follow her to England. So I read all of these either on Kindle or audiobook. I also have the memory of a goldfish when it comes to reading books, so I've had to, as I've read, write down notes about each book, the characters' names especially, because I feel like I read, it goes in one ear, out the other. Bear with me if I'm flicking my eyes over here, it's because I do have notes. To help me out, help a girl out who's got the memory of a goldfish when it comes to what she's read. The first book I read this month was Powerful by Lauren Roberts, which is the novella after Powerless, and I read it in anticipation to read Reckless, which was being released in July. Spoiler alert, I never got to Reckless because I got scared of it and then never touched it. I rated this book 3 stars, and my top few things were I wish it was longer. I really enjoyed it. I just wish it was longer. It was so painful. Wholesome and painful would be the 2 words I'd describe how this book made me feel. So this follows Adina, who is Peyton's best friend, in the same timeline that Powerless is written, and it's about Adina surviving on the streets without Peyton. And Adina is this ray of light, this sunshine to everybody's darkness, and she encounters the mysterious Matt, who is brooding. He's got secrets of his own, he's got a tortured past, a tortured heart, and they find a friendship in each other and a common goal that they need to work together to read. It's very good, and now talking about it, I really need to get into Reckless because why have I not done it already? Why am I like this? The second book I read this month was a book called Piranesi. I think that's how you say it, by Susanna Clark. This book won the Goodreads Choice Award in 2020 for Best Fantasy. It was Mike's pick for our book club this month. My sister Mike, my brother-in-law, and myself have a little book club amongst the 3 of us called the Grimoire Club. We each pick a book for the month, and this was Mike's book. I rated this book 3 stars. I found the writing style a little bit different to what I'm used to, and I struggled a little bit with that, but it was super cozy and a nice fantasy to read. I can see why people would have voted for this as best fantasy. It just didn't hit for me. In this book, we follow Piranesi, who is in a magical house, and the walls and corridors are never ending and hold secrets of their own. Piranesi is basically trying to get to the bottom of a terrible truth that he's found out once he discovers another person in the house. It's got a little bit of a mystery element to it, cozy fantasy, nothing high stakes, no battles. So the whole concept was very intriguing, and I did enjoy reading it. I also appreciated that it was on the smaller side, being 272 pages. Thanks for that, Mikey. The third book I read this month was The Glass Castle by Jeanette Wells. My sister Cass picked this book as her book club choice for the month. I rated this book 4 stars, my highest rated book of the month. I found it to be very moving. Jeanette had a very hard upbringing, and this basically follows her during that. Jeanette goes through a lot of childhood trauma and battles to become the woman that she is today, who is now a profound writer. She was raised by an alcoholic father and a free-spirited mother who did not want to confine to the normalities of what a mother should be. So the kids basically had to raise themselves. When the dad was drinking, he was a liar and destructive, and when he was sober, he would encourage them to dream. So it was very conflicting in their lives. I was just really in awe of her strength the whole time. Like, even when she was a child, I was just thinking, my goodness, this is insane. Like, the coping mechanisms that she had to use to make it through and get on the other side. And it actually became a movie based on the book, based on her life. It's incredible. I would highly recommend to read this book and watch the movie, because I think they did the book justice completely and utterly. It was just chef's kiss. The next book I read this month was Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco. I rated this book 3 stars, and it was my pick for our book club this month. And I don't know if it's because I put more pressure on it because I picked it, or if it was because it just simply was average. I read her other series, Kingdom of the Wicked, and I loved it. I was obsessed with it. My sister and I were reading them. She would read one first, of course, and then she would force me to read the next one, which I was grateful for because I just ate them up. So I was very excited about this series as well, but it just fell flat for me. That's probably just due to my own high expectations. This book follows Audrey Rose Wadsworth, who is a 17-year-old girl in the 1800s, I believe. I tried to look in the blurb, but it actually doesn't say, and I can't remember. And she is a lord's daughter by day, and by, I want to say night, but it's actually not. It's just all the in-between moments where she's not being a lord's daughter. She's off learning forensic medicine from her uncle, who investigates dead bodies. There is a serial killer on the loose, and because of what she does on the side, she is very intrigued to find out who it is. I loved the concept of it. I just got so bored in the middle. I was reading it on my Kindle, and I ended up having to get the audiobook because I just could not get into it physically reading. The audiobook was a much better experience, and I wonder if I would feel differently about it had I gone down the audiobook route from the start. Either way, it was 3 stars, and I won't be continuing with the series unless some TikTok convinces me to otherwise. After that, I read the next book in the Alchemy series by Elodie Hart called Undulate. Fair warning, these books are very, very spicy. Alchemy is literally a spicy club, so take with that what you will. I rated this book 3 stars for Hot Chili Peppers, and the only reason it got a 3 stars from me was because it started off really strong. The chemistry between the characters was insane, but that's kind of all it was. Like, I didn't get to know the characters. It was a love story, but it just happened very quick in my opinion. But either way, this book is about alchemy, the club, and each book I believe is about one of the owners. And this book is about the financial director, Zach. He is widowed, now a single dad raising his 2 daughters, and Maddie is the new employee, 22, age gap romance, and she is basically there to test him. I did like it. Some parts were very, very wholesome. I just needed more of the wholesome. I think that's what was missing to make that a higher rating for me, because I will keep going with the series. I really enjoy it. I just need some more wholesome vibes to it. And the last book I read this month was The Butterfly Garden by Dot Hutchison, and I do have a how to get out of a book slump video coming out after this, where I'll probably go into more depth about what I thought about this book. In a nutshell, I rated this book 3 stars, and it's basically about this creepy man who collects butterflies, girls, and hides them away, kidnaps them in his garden, which is a literal greenhouse on his property somewhere. The way the book starts is the garden's been discovered, and one of the survivors is being interviewed by the FBI, who are putting together all the twisted truths of what's happened to these poor girls. It was super intriguing. I really loved some of the characters in the book. They had fight, and I liked those ones the most, the ones who had the fire in them. It just got a little bit repetitive in the middle for me, and I was intrigued till the end, but there was a twist at the end that I just kind of was like, meh. about. So that's why it got a 3 stars. So to wrap it up, I read 6 books. 5 of them were 3 stars and 1 of them was a 4 star. Now let's get into the books I'm going to be reading in August, hopefully. We'll see how we go. First of all, I thought we'd go through the 3 books that are on my August TBR because of the Grimoire Club. So that would be Mike's pick, Cass's pick, and my pick for the month. To start off with, Mike has picked The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon. This book is about a boy on the spectrum who relates more to animals than humans, and his quest to investigate the suspicious death of a dog in the neighborhood. And that's all I've learned just from the blurb on Goodreads. I like to go into books a bit more blind unless I am forcing myself to read it and I'm struggling. After already have started the book, I will sometimes go and read a bit more into it to get motivated, but I like to go in a little bit blind. Cass's pick for the month is The Tattooist of Auschwitz by Heather Morris. And again, I don't know much about this one either. I think it was potentially a movie maybe. I don't know, but I flipping love reading historical fiction books, especially about World War II. I don't know if that sounds morbid or not, but I just find it fascinating. And Goodreads is saying it's a historical fiction romance about World War II, so sounds right up my alley. And my book club pick for this month is a reread for me and for Cass of Throne of Glass by Sarah J Maas. I am so excited. I read Throne of Glass years ago for the first time, and I think I read the first 3 books and then I fell right off, and then Cass finally convinced me to read them all last year, and I am a changed person because of it. Maybe I'm still recovering from that book hangover because every time I see the TikToks I cry. I decided that we would go through this journey together, and hopefully Mike likes it because we might have to pick the next book in the series for my pick next month just to get him through it, because oh my gosh, it is so good. Another book on my TBR this month is 1% of You. We have the Grimoire Club, but my sister and I also pick a book for each other, and usually it's something either one of us have read and the other one's putting off, and we just want them to read so we can talk to them about it. She has picked this for me and I didn't know anything about it. She gave me 4 options, and this one I believe she described to me as heartwarming and pulls at your heartstrings. So that's all I know about it. The next book I want to read this month is Reckless by Lauren Roberts. Oh my gosh, I hope I get there because I was so excited when Powerless finished and when Powerful came out, and then I put off reading Powerful, and now I've read Powerful and putting off reading Reckless. I'm actually so excited and I don't know why I'm putting it off, but hopefully we can get to that one. The next book is Bright Lights and Summer Nights by Kat Singleton. This is the 3rd book in the Black Tie Billionaire series, and all of these are on Kindle Unlimited, and I am obsessed with them. The banter, the settings, this one is set in the Hamptons, and just the friendship group, the found family, I just love them. So I really want to get to that one this month. Then I want to get to Play Along, which is the 4th book in the Windy City series, and this follows Isaiah and Kenny. I think Isaiah is the brother of Kai, who was the 3rd book, and that book, Baseball Daddy, 5 stars. I think about that book all the time, so I'm very excited to get to that one this month too. So to wrap that all up, that is 8 books on my TBR that I'm hoping I get through, because I thought 8 would be a good number to still leave enough room if I do finish them to read stuff that pops up that I really want to read, or if I don't finish them I still have time. Maybe if I slot in a random book that's not on my TBR in there, I still potentially will have time to finish the other ones. So thanks for watching, and hopefully a few reading vlogs and other fun videos will pop up in the month for you to follow along of me getting back in my reading era, because woof, is she missed. Bye.